Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Vanguard Tactics. I'm your host, Stephen Box, and if you're interested in Warhammer 40k, then you're in the right place. So every single day during this lockdown period, I go live at 6 o'clock to answer your 40k related questions. So I hope you guys are doing all well. If you're new to the channel, then a massive welcome and thank you for subscribing and, doing all that good stuff like leaving likes and all that other bits and bobs that we most appreciate as YouTubers, so to speak. So obviously, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding 40k, then please let me know. Wasn't able to answer everyone's questions yesterday with Joe. They do take a little bit longer when there's two of you, so I hope you enjoyed that though, and meeting Joe. We had a good interview, and then we did our live stream into the Academy group after, where we played the Drakari versus the Harlequins. Slightly more challenging now, working around the like health and safety of obviously COVID-19, but I think we did a pretty good job. Just doing things like using hand sanitizer every 20 minutes, making sure that if we're ever getting within 2 meters of each other, we're wearing face masks. What else are we doing? Wearing gloves when we're setting up the terrain and everything, and then he's not using my dice, I'm not using his, he's not touching my models, I'm not touching his models. So lots of stuff like that to help us navigate around, and then obviously making sure we're socially distancing at all times, not only from each other but also outside of that as well. But on the whole, went pretty well. A few things that I need to tweak and tailor. Really want to improve the internet there, so that's going to be a nice little step up. But on the whole, really happy with the thing. Got some new lighting equipment arrived today, so that'll help as the lights we have basically only last for 90 minutes before they get a little bit too hot. But then we've got multiple lights now we can use. They don't make any humming or buzzing or anything like that, which improves the audio quality and all that good stuff. So anyway, what have I been up to today? So Wednesday is my update day of all my nutrition clients. So I've been just kind of on the phone all day doing consultancy calls. I had a really good chat earlier with a gentleman called John, who's on the Academy, who is on the VIP package. He gets a one-to-one phone call with me, so we went over his list, talking all things orcs and how do we make his favourite units in his orc army work to a competitive standard. Talked about the events he's done, the events he wants to do in the future, did a little bit of goal setting, and ultimately just making sure that he's really getting the most out of his models in his hobby, really. So that was a really good thing. If you want to get on the VIP for next month, then all you need to do is shoot me an email, and I'm going to pop that in the description here. So it's Stephen at Vanguard Tactics.com. Shoot me an email to that and just shoot me with the heading VIP June, okay, and then I'll get you on the waiting list. We've currently got 2 people on the waiting list for June, and it will be first come first serve. As soon as June comes, there'll be 5 spaces for that VIP package, and you can basically cherry pick the content. You watch it whenever you want to, basically. So yeah, I'm going to quickly whiz through all of your questions. I hope you guys are doing well in the chat. Neo Cow, sorry if you've answered before, but what would you like to see in 9th edition personally? So obviously we've got this big preview coming out on Saturday. It says every 40k player should be listening to it, so it might be a kind of new edition or a new remit of the edition. And myself and Jack, we're working again together tomorrow. We're going to do a full review of what we would like to see from 9th edition tomorrow, so don't miss that. That's going to be 6 o'clock tomorrow. But we're going to gather our thoughts a little bit more, think a little bit more deeply, rather than just giving you some kind of like off the top of my head. We'll give it some good thought for tomorrow before 6. So myself and Jack, who was on last week, will cover that tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And we'll be streaming from the office once more, from the studio even. What else we've got? Lee said, what units would you recommend taking to fulfill anti-tank in a pure Deathwatch army? I was thinking of putting 3 Thrag Cannons in 3 squads, where the rest is Storm Bolters. So 3 Frag Cannons probably isn't going to be enough, because they're only 2 damage each. So personally, for me in Deathwatch, I'd be relying more on Thunderhammers and Power Fists. That's kind of what I would be using. So you have attrition from the Storm Bolters and Stalkers, and then basically just finishing anything else off in combat really is kind of what I'd be doing with the Deathwatch. Alternatively, I'd probably put a Leviathan Dreadnought in. He's probably the only time I'd take or think about putting a Leviathan into a list, because you can put him in deep strike, he can come down 1 CP +1 to wound on him, and he'll delete anything he shoots basically. So I'd probably lean on that a little bit to do any sort of heavy lifting, and then failing that, maybe some Repulsor Executioners, but I think the Leviathan Dreadnought with some big units of having aggressors in and stuff, you're gonna be all right for. It's not remember, they're not really bred to be dealing with knights and stuff, so you could soup in some smash captains or whatever, maybe some Raven Guard, assault centurions in deep strike, who knows. You could use sort of lean on some of those tools a little bit. Maybe you could put in some like triple whirlwinds, triple thunderfires, and a captain to give you rerolls of hit to 1 in wound from Imperial Fist maybe. So you could lean on some of that stuff as a bit of a soup really. But remember, the Deathwatch are there to kill Xenos and in hordes, so they're a horde clearing army more than anything. JW said to start off with White Scars, yes again, Successor, Sense or Aggressors, both do more or less the same thing, and the Aggressor's going to Repulsor if I don't want to outflank them. Yeah, whatever you fancy really. Aggressors are cheaper, they're not as durable as Centurions obviously, but yeah, if you're going to run a Repulsor, then I suggest you run the 5 Aggressors. It just kind of goes much better together, and you've got a bit more mobility then as well, or different opportunities. Manic Stations, evening Stephen, hope you're well. The other good thing about Aggressors, you can still advance and still shoot, whereas you can't do that with the Assault Centurions because they're rapid fire. Jack, what is it like if the other player has the same army? Blood Angels versus Blood Angels. So in some mirror matches, it depends which one is tailored to the other. So that is really going to depend on a lot of different factors. But ultimately, it's going to be whoever's got the most experience with that army is going to win that game, or whoever's got the slightly more optimized list is going to win that game. So this is really where the test of knowing your army and having the repetitions with it is going to do really, really well for you. You know, if somebody's like, let's say somebody was running my Blood Angel list against me, and I've had this in the past where I've played against people who were running my Deathwatch build against me, then the master doesn't teach all of his tricks, right? So if I was a master, that would be. So yeah, it's just going to come down to who knows that army best, who's got the most repetitions with it. Have you even bothered to play test the mirror? Not many people do. If you're unsure of how you would go about it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Demeep said, hit that like button so more people get Vanguard Tactics in their newsfeed. I would absolutely love that, guys. I really, really would. If you guys can help me reach more people, honestly, I'd be really grateful for that. I really would. Razel, given that there is a massive number of players in the world who no doubt play ITC format, is there any chance you will ever look at discussing those other formats, GW main rules or otherwise? Yeah, we'll probably have if there is a 9th edition with new rulebook missions, we'll probably take a look at them at some point. In terms of the battle reports, I'm hoping to do one or get one filmed once a week. That's going to be at a push. We're going to see on the editing time, but maybe we'll do like a 3-in-1 ratio. So we'll do 3 ITC, 1 rulebook, or WTC, something like that. The Gunnab Nub, any tips for close combat Space Marine lists? Just make sure all of your characters are going to really accentuate that list build. There's no point having your army in 2 different places at once, because you're not going to excel in combat and you're not going to excel at shooting. So make sure you've got plenty of ways to, get around Overwatch, to wrap and trap units, and make sure you've completely honed all those skills as well. So I did a video on how to stop your opponent from leaving combat. So give that video a watch, and there's loads of others just like that on the Academy. And with me and myself and Jack are filming loads more tomorrow as well. And that's the plan for tomorrow as well. So there'll be loads more videos like that. John said, cool was good. Got 2 new list drafts already. Excellent, John. No, it's fantastic to get to meet you as well or speak to you. So I can't wait to actually put a name to a face as well at our next event. So that'll be great to see how you progress, John. Really will be. Clandestine comments, hey dude, hope you're well. Just wondering how you feel about an Indian low-cost representation in 40k. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So let me know in a little bit more detail. Cromcraft has said how to make his favourite units work. That's the key to good competition fun. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not about necessarily taking the most optimized things. It's about things that you're going to enjoy, really getting the most out of it. Like, are Harlequins the most optimized thing ever? No. Do I love playing with them? Yes. Were Blood Angels in the same boat? Yes. Like, there was nobody putting in good results with Blood Angels. And then I came along, absolutely loved it, got the most out of the units, and all of a sudden people think it's optimized. They're still not optimized, but yeah, it's just I enjoyed it and I got the reps in, I put the graft in, yeah, so. And then no doubt more people will perceive that they're optimized, then they will put the hard work in, they'll put the graft in, and they'll actually get good results from things like Death Company, which are not an optimized unit. So think about that. It's not, but by me doing well with it, it's giving people the confidence to go ahead and do it. So there's also that. Oh wow, there's loads of questions. Callie killed Nox Gaming. Do you have any recommendations for kit bashing a Smash Captain? Any personal favourite kits? Yes, I do. The Primaris Lieutenant, who's a Phobos one, who's got that really cool stance. That is my favourite model. It's really easy to put a shield in there instead of, yeah, basically a pistol and then Thunderhammer in the other one. That'd be lovely, looks sweet. Thanks for doing this every day, by the way, you're a legend. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Flesh Tearer's opinion, just not as good as Blood Angels, because the Blood Angels really tick for me because they got all the support characters. If you could run the Sanguinor with the Flesh Tearers and stuff in Lamartes and Ashtaroth, it'd be great, but because you can't, then they're just not as good, really. If you're looking at ultra competitive out of the two, yeah, they're just not quite there. Manic Stations, do you think Grey Knight Intercessors are Incinerators are worthwhile, or would something else be like Silencers or Side Cannons be better? Personally, I'm not running any, just Stormbolters are good enough. I would run Stormbolters or Silencers. I probably wouldn't run much else, to be honest. The Incinerators have got such a low range. If their range was a little bit higher, I might think about it, but because they don't, then yeah. Because they're going to be deep striking down a lot, they're not going to get to shoot, unfortunately. How do you resolve rapid fire shots against a target where only half the unit is in rapid fire range? So you count how many models are in rapid fire range. So let's say you've got a 10-man unit and 5 are in rapid fire range. So they would normally get 10 shots if they weren't in rapid fire. So 5 can rapid fire, so they're going to get 10 shots, plus the other 5 that aren't in rapid fire range, you get 15 shots, okay? I'm tearing through these questions today. I'm on an absolute roll. These are great questions. JW, good to hear aggressors are cheaper, monetary-wise, absolutely, yeah. And I think they look cool as well. I really like them. Speaking of mirrors, what if you are the only person in the area that plays your faction, White Scars, Harlequins? Would you recommend TTS in that case? No, not necessarily. I mean, it's an option, obviously, but you know, ask your mate. Just to ask one of your friends that needs to playtest something. Ask him, is there something he needs to playtest against? Then you just proxy that army to playtest against him, and then you go, cool. Well, we've got all these models. Can you just run them as Space Marines? Like in the past, when Jack was playtesting his orcs before he bought 120 of them or whatever, we were using Space Marines as orcs. They're on the same size base. We're just pushing them around, saying they're orcs. You know, it's fine. We still enjoyed the game. We got the playtesting done. You then went out and bought an orc army. So yeah, it's good. Just got to use a little bit of imagination. Luke said, evening Stephen, great work on the daily vids. How much psychic support do you take when you run craft worlds? Bulk of my army is fire prisms, night spinners, and axe wraith blades and spears. In that case, that army sounds exactly like mine, so I take a lot. So I'm taking probably double One Farseer, double Warlock, one Spirit Seer is probably what I'm taking with that list. Crom said, with everything opening up, just got my rest of my Assault Terminators. Any thoughts on them? Speed buffs, weaknesses. What faction you, or what chapter you running those with? That would be good to know. Oh wow, so many questions. John said, what are your opinion on battle cannons versus thermal cannons on Knight Crusader in a Knight list? Depends, John, really, on like the... I used to be a really big fan of battle cannons, but I think now with so many things that can avoid it, I'd probably be looking to take thermals. And yeah, like the thermals then will free up a lot more points, so maybe you can take the guns that can fire indirectly instead of that and the battle cannon. So it's going to depend on your points a little bit, but you might find you've got a random amount of points left over, so you're just going to put a battle cannon in for that extra range. But I would probably go, and it depends if you're going to go Krast or you're going to go for Tyrannus. Definitely thermals with Tyrannus, I think, and then probably if you're going to go Krast, I'd maybe look at putting a battle cannon in. Dan Jones has said, for a newbie, would you recommend to chase the meta by buying and prepping new armies or collecting the range of one faction in just lists based on the rules, updates and trends? So Dan, you can, like I did this on the event prep series for the Academy, like you can take any good list, but you still won't be good with it. It's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of graft. Like look at an idea. So you could look at my Blood Angels, seeing, okay, well, I really like Blood Angels. I'm going to stick with them for a year. And okay, so what units is Steve using? He's getting good results. Well, he's got a Sanguinor, Astorath, Mephiston, Sanguinary Priest. Okay, so there must be something in that. There must be a reason. Okay, so now I need to understand why he's took that. Okay, if you just chuck it down on the table and you're not thinking about it critically, then it's not going to work well for you. So you really need to kind of try and unpick my thought process behind it all right? And then after about 100 games, you'll get good with it. But you can chase the meta as much as you want, and you'll win some games because you'll just have a slightly more optimized list than your opponent, but you won't beat top tier players. A top tier player at an event will still beat you because even with a less suboptimal list, I'm saying you, but obviously you need to assume that I'm using the you as you've just bought an army and you're sticking it on the table, or you've just called up your mate to go, oh, can I please borrow your broken insert X list, taking it to the table. You will beat some people with that list because it's just fully optimized maybe, but the top players will just know the workarounds, okay? So I don't mean you as in you personally, I mean kind of Dan, that as an example, all right? So I'd definitely say find a faction you really like the look of, that is competitive currently, and, you know, go with it. Give it some time. Really work with it, okay? And you'll be, it's much more satisfying as well when you do that. You don't turn up to the table and you're like, oh, what are you playing? Oh, great, Iron Hands. Fantastic. You don't get that response from somebody. You'll be like, oh, cool, Harlequins. I haven't played against them in a while. Yeah, that's how you want it to be. Auron said, I got a Deathwatch starter box and I want to build it around Teleportarium. Any tips, thoughts on it? Yeah, so just run the, you know, I would say get collecting boxes. You've got 3 Dreads. They work perfectly well with Twin Las and a Power Fist. You could convert them into Chaplain Dreads if you wanted. What you can then do is just use 3 units of 10 veterans, get a unit of Vanguard Vets, a unit of Terminators, a unit of Bikes, drip 1 in each unit. Storm Bolter conversions, some Storm Shields, you're good to go. Chuck a few like Thunderhammers in there, yeah. Clandestine comments, so basically I would be thinking of painting my Marines Indian, brown skin, but I don't know how people will react to an Indian gene seed. Would love to see the Hummers Primarch. Do it, mate. It's your army. You paint it how you want. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, go with it. Do you have a rough ETA on the terrain coming sale? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it will be the 1st of June. So 1st of June for the students on the Academy. Yeah, so 1st of June it will go on pre-order for the academy students, and then after that probably 1st of July for everyone else. Um, do, 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 do. Luke said, do you think the meta is close enough that a top 100 player would have a respectable chance at winning a GT with any faction, given a sustainable amount of playtest time? Yes. Yes. Yeah. People do not usually care how you paint your army. Things only get a bit testy when they start challenging the official lore. Or requited. I'm not sure what that means. Rickard, to be honest, anyone not thinking Indian Genius is awesome, take on Marines, and not someone you'd like to play a game with. Exactly that, yeah. Exactly that. Christopher Smalling, how you doing, mate? Lee, any tips on making the most of the Teleporium strat for Deathwatch? Yep. Use it 3 times, put 3 units in Deep Strike. Perfect. Could be a Dreadnought, like a Leviathan Dreadnought, and 2 big units of squads. I really like the teleport homers, where I'd put them at the front of my deployment in Leapfrog there. That's quite cool as well. Chris said he's loving the studio. Any battle reports coming out soon? Yes, so we're hopefully filming one tomorrow, and then I got another one on Monday. So it's just a lot of editing for me to do then. JW said, as the new Harlequin sim pretty scary, what are you most afraid of seeing on the tabletop piloting the clowns, factions type of units? It's still early days in my playtesting, but I'm pretty... it plays well into the things that are... It's kind of like all the armies that counter Marines, it counters that. That's what I found in my experience. But it does mean Marines still counter me, so Marines are still going to be a big challenge for the Harlequins, because they punch back so hard in combat, even with just base attacks. And bolt guns kill Harlequins just as good as las cannons. So, yeah. Keeper of Secrets or 3 Khorne Lord of Skulls Celestia? Oh, not really sure, to be honest. Not really sure. I do like that Celestia where you can fight twice and stuff. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, whatever, really. Just make it work for you. It's going to be what all those units do that, accentuate the rest of your army. So give that a consideration. Assault Terminator is a Salamander successor, extra 6 on 6s plus 1 inch charge. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. Sounds good. I would just go Storm Shield and Thunderhammer. Yep. Nick said, in your Blood Angels list, what are the stratagems you mainly used? I tried the list versus a AdMech list and completely destroyed them. To be honest, there was only really one stratagem I ever used, and that was fight twice. And I'll probably just use that time and time again. The rest, I didn't really bother with, to be honest. Maybe transhuman now and again if I was charging a unit and I needed it to take the Overwatch, I'd put it on them. But normally just fight twice. So Lee Burley said, 40k unrelated, but if you have time, do you have any tips on self-discipline building? I need to keep running, but I have no motivation, discipline a lot of the time. So Lee, what I need to tell you is this. You need to think about why you are running. Okay? Running is a process. The process is going to give you an outcome, but why is it that you want that outcome? Okay? And when you really think about that outcome, so ask yourself why you want that outcome, and ask yourself then, why do you want that outcome again? And then ask yourself that why 7 times and get really deep with the reason why you want to make a change, okay? And then you need to ask yourself, how is it going to improve your life or change your life? And if that answer is significant enough, you will put your trainers on, you will put your headphones in, and you will go and do some exercise. And if it's not, then you won't, because it's never gonna kind of penetrate your wall of staying the same. Okay, it's easy to stay the same. It's harder to reinvent yourself. It really is, and it's challenging mentally exhausting, emotionally exhausting to make change in life. But if you want the prospect at the end of it, you have to be willing to go through all different kinds of barriers, okay? All different kinds. Like for me, there would be days when I was bodybuilding and I'd be on like 1600 calories a day, and I'd have to do 2000 calories of cardio. I'd have to train legs in the morning. I'd have a squat session I'd need to complete. I would literally be nearly passing out, being sick, all that kind of stuff because I wanted the outcome. Yeah? I wanted to use bodybuilding as a way, as a vehicle to help me improve my business, because I wanted a better business so I could, put a roof over my head and all that kind of stuff. So the motivation was there to do well, and I just focused on what I needed to do, and I then put the processes in place and I achieved it. Running might not be the process you need to achieve. If you want to look great, then running might not be the thing you need to do. I did 0 running, and I ended up winning like 2012. I won Mr. Great Britain, and then I've had multiple different placings across the world. I was a fashion model for about a good 6 years. I had like covers for magazines. I had covers for, I was like the next underwear campaign cover, and I didn't do any running whatsoever. So it's all about understanding what is the outcome that you want to achieve, and then what is then the correct process you put in place in order to get you there, okay? And then you reverse engineer it. Do that every day. The small habits accumulate and you'll do well, okay? And it's the same for 40K. It's exactly what I teach on the academy, but we teach 40K strategy and processes rather than, fitness or how you look, or you want to look or whatever, okay? So anyway, that is my, I think we'll finish on that. I think that's a good one to finish on. And my bit of exercise today was going out for a nice little long walk across the meadows today. So that's quite nice. But I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I will be with Jack and we'll be talking all things predictions, 9th edition, or what we would like to see going forward in the future. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow at 6. See you later.